this is Tim Hellman.
And I'm Jake Tenpass.
And this is Movie Talk. Today we're going to review the 2016 Top 10 movies, our picks for our favorites from last year. My number 10 is 20th Century Women. Have you seen it?
Nope.
I just loved it. It's really well written. The dialogue is really clever and witty, and it's pretty insightful. Just a lot of really funny classic scenes in it. Like there's a dinner scene that's just awesome, and it's just a really well written movie.
It's on my list. The wait list is a mile long at the Multnomah County Library, so Portlanders, you are too hip for your own good.
Yeah. Portland's really hip.
I'm going to go the exact opposite direction, Tim. My number 10 movie is going to be a tie between Keanu and Pop Star Never Stop, Never Stopping. Pop Star seems like one of those movies to me, like Zoolander, that will continue to grow in esteem over the years, become like a cult comedy. And Keanu, cute cat, plus explosions.
I love the Cuts the Cat Lovers.
Plus Key and Peele, who I think are geniuses.
You have to love it, I think.
Yeah, I enjoy it. Anyway, just want to give a shout out to two comedies that I think were kind of undersung.
Okay. My number 9 was American Honey. Have you seen that?
No.
It's like 2 hours and 40 minutes, but it just flies by. It beautifully captures this young woman's life, and the lead actress is really good in it. And then Shia LaBeouf gives a great performance in it too. And it's just a really cool indie movie.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
My number 9 movie is Deadpool, which I just thought was an absolute blast. Very funny, action-packed. I'm normally not much of a Ryan Reynolds fan, and I thought he was really good in it. I mean, really the only thing I did not like about it was Colossus. The CGI was cheesy looking, but I mean, that whole movie was under budgeted. They made it on a bit of a shoestring, at least for that level of a movie, so I have more respect for it for that fact. And from what I understand, Colossus is pretty true to the comics. I just was kind of bored with them, but everything else about that movie is funny. And honestly, it's like one of the better love stories. Ryan Reynolds and Miranda Bachman had a lot of chemistry, and their scenes together were magical.
And I can relate to the being insecure about your looks for sure.
There you go. There was totally something to relate to. Yep.
Yeah. My number 8 was Neon Demon. It's Nicholas Winding Refn's new movie, and I just thought it was just beautifully directed. It's really weird, and that's what I loved about it. The ending was just so crazy. You could never guess where it's going to go. I mean, no one can predict that ending. It's just totally crazy out there.
You know Nicholas Winding Refn is like my favorite director making movies right now, so that may or may not pop up a little higher on my list, Tim, but I adored it. My number 8 movie was Star Wars Rogue One. I thought it was the best Star Wars movie since Empire Strikes Back. In the entire movie, you're like, I don't care what I know about the history of the Star Wars universe. I have so much hope for these characters, and they made the characters interesting, and
they were all well developed. And it was all minorities and a woman. And a robot. But it was one of the most diverse cast blockbusters ever, I think. And no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was really well made and a great addition to the Star Wars universe. And I love that Star Wars is doing that, being more progressive. Women heroes and then more minorities.
Absolutely.
My number 7 was Hacksaw Ridge. I know you haven't seen it yet. It's just a really good war movie. I think Mel Gibson is just an amazing director, no matter what type of person he is in real life.
I would tend to agree with you, Tim, that he's an amazing director. I don't even know what to say about the things that he says or seems to think. He had a terrible, terrible father, and I think he's a messed up human being, but sometimes messed up human beings are great artists. He's a visceral filmmaker. I mean, he reminds me of a Sam Peckinpah.
He's really violent.
I always find him interesting. My number 7 movie was Moonlight. I thought it was a beautifully shot movie. I thought the cinematography was great throughout it. I was a little surprised at how little Mahershala Ali's in it for him winning a Best Supporting Actor. And he's a great actor. I mean, he's a great actor. I wanted more of him. That was a movie that left you thinking, too. Like, it was one of those movies that ended before you were ready for it to. And for a movie that's 2 hours long, it felt like an hour. It moved so quickly, and it wasn't like it was cut really quickly. It was slow. Like, there were a lot of slow shots. The pacing was deceptive, and I really enjoyed that about it. And we live in a time where we need movies about people who are not white men.
And he was gay, and he only had one sexual encounter, which is something I can relate to. I could relate to that character a lot, actually.
I mean, he's never defined. He's just sort of like a guy who's uncomfortable with other people and with his sexuality in general. I thought it was interesting.
I didn't think that the third actor matched the other two, though. And the character, I didn't quite buy that he would turn out that way.
It was an interesting turn. It was an interesting
turn.
That's
the one thing I didn't like about it, though. I only gave it 4.5 stars, actually, but I maybe need to watch it again.
That's sort of still an insanely good rating.
Yeah, I know. My number 6 is Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice. I loved it. I know you didn't like the ending, but I think the ending definitely took it down a slight notch, but I still really enjoyed it. I thought the fight scene between Batman and Superman was awesome, and I loved all the dark drama. It was really dark, and I liked that about it.
I feel like Zack Snyder just needs somebody to edit his movies after he's done editing them, because I feel like he has such a great eye, and he pairs music and visuals together really incredibly, and he comes up with things that, you know, look ripped straight out of a comic book, and they look beautiful
Watchmen
and amazing.
was great.
I loved Watchmen, but nobody says, okay, Zach, maybe rein it in. Maybe we don't need a half hour of completely pointless CGI. My number 6 movie was Kubo and the Two Strings. I don't know if I saw a visually more stunning movie this year, from underwater sequences to flying sequences to portrayals of the natural world to just the way that faces were composed differently for each character. I thought it was stunning. I thought it was funny at times, but I thought it had some really powerful things to say about the nature of family, the nature of storytelling, of things that you pass on to your kids or things that you pass on to another generation.
My number 5 is At the Fort. It's a documentary about animal agriculture. The director's an omnivore and the wife is a vegetarian, and they both tour these farms together.
Sounded interesting. I read your review of it.
Yeah, I loved it, but I'm a big vegan and animal lover.
Nice. I look forward to seeing that. My number 5 movie was The Witch. Seeing The Witch, seeing Get Out, those are the kind of movies that give me hope for horror as a genre. I mean, it's like they adhere to some of the classic elements of what make horror great. In The Witch, you had all this amazing sort of like avant-garde neoclassical music that almost sounded like the music by Ligeti from 2001: A Space Odyssey, like the massed choirs and the noisy, like really just unsettling sounds, unsettling imagery. I found The Witch to be just captivating.
My number 4 was Don't Think Twice.
I forgot
It's
about
about this group of friends that are all in this troupe together, and then he gets accepted on the show, and it kind of tears the friend group apart.
And I love Keegan-Michael Key, not quite as much as Jordan Peele, but
he's hilarious.
they're both great.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, in both their own ways, they play off each other so well. When one of them's a straight man, the other one is, you know, the comedic foil, and vice versa. They're a great pairing. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see that. My number 4 movie was Arrival. Arrival is the kind of science fiction movie I'd love to see more of, especially right now where we're living in society in which we're shunning people from other countries, people of other ethnicities, and we're looking at the alien as a bad thing in actual society. Alien movies have always been about alien invaders coming to Earth and us battling them. And this movie totally turned that on its head and had the aliens as people who were coming here with a totally benign agenda and wanted to communicate something to us. And it was up to us, the viewer, working in tandem with the characters in the movie to try to decipher what they're telling us, what they had to say. And the only battle that happens in the movie happens like off screen. I thought it was great. And Denis Villeneuve is now going to direct Dune.
I know.
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
Oh, yeah.
Dune reboot, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
My number 3 is Green Room. Have you seen that?
Yes, I did see Green Room.
Did you like it? Or?
I guess I'd heard such amazing things about it
yeah.
that I don't know if it quite lived up to what I had heard, but I did find it really entertaining and a fun indie thriller type movie.
Yeah, Patrick Stewart was great. So.
Oh, I thought everybody did a pretty good job.
Anton Yelchin in one of his last roles.
Yep. My number 3 movie was Neon Demon, which you already heard about from Tim. It's Nicholas Winding Refn. I think you either like him or you don't like him. I absolutely love Neon Demon. And I watched it for a second time recently, and if anything, enjoyed it more.
My number 2 is Deadpool.
Yep.
I loved it. I just thought it was really, really entertaining, and it's great to see an R-rated superhero movie. And Logan is really good too, and if the character is right for it, it's definitely fitting, and it'll make the movie better.
I 100% agree. We just talked about Watchmen. I like the idea that people are realizing, hey, a lot of the people that go see comic movies now are adults. They have adult expectations.
And they're learning it won't hurt the box office.
Yep.
It's actually better.
There's room in the market for both kids superhero movies and adult superhero movies. My number 2 movie was La La Land. And I don't care if people think it was overhyped.
What about people criticizing that it's white people singing jazz? And the black guy was the one that was a sellout.
You know, I guess the funny thing is, as a huge jazz fan myself, who also happens to be a white guy, that character is based on real people. There are people. I mean, I can't play piano like Ryan Gosling did in that movie, but like there are a lot of us white people out here that like jazz. And on top of that, I didn't view John Legend as a sellout because I think there do need to be people within the jazz community saying, how can we keep this music fresh and how can we get people into it?
I think his character was still likable.
I thought he was totally likable. I thought, if anything, it was said more about Ryan Gosling being a bit of a snob.
And he was very believable because I know a lot of snobs like him.
I'm a total music snob like that. I felt like I was seeing a part of myself up on screen. But I thought the songs were great. I was walking around for weeks afterwards singing that damn City of Stars song. That song will get in my head like nobody's business. It's a beautiful musical about two people struggling to balance their love for each other, with the goals that they have in life, and the way that, in which they want to support each other. And I found it
relationships, I think.
Yeah, I found it super touching.
It was number 15 on my list.
Okay.
My number 1 is Rogue One. I love Star Wars, and Force Awakens was number 1 last year, and I liked it more than Force Awakens even. So.
Yeah.
And we've already talked about it, but it was just an amazing movie.
Well, my number 1 movie was Nocturnal Animals. I think it was the most snubbed movie at the Oscars. Shame on you, Academy. I don't understand how you did not realize the brilliance that was that movie. Again, Amy Adams was incredible in it, but Jake Gyllenhaal also was absolutely incredible in it. I don't want to ruin it for you, but I think that one of the fascinating things about it is, as the story within a story plays out, you realize that the characters within the story that she's reading, that Amy Adams identifies with, are maybe not the characters that she was intended to identify with. I love that movie. It was hard to watch. I mean, like, I could watch La La Land over and over again, or I could watch Keanu over and over again. It'll be a long time before I'm ready to watch Nocturnal Animals again, because it really impacted me and made me feel something deep, and I was thinking about it for weeks afterwards. But if you haven't seen Nocturnal Animals, and if you've got the stomach for, being pushed to some dark, uncomfortable places in human relationships, that movie is so worth the reward.
You liked it more than me, obviously. I did like it a lot, though.
Sweet. Okay. Happy viewing.